Sat down with a man, and he had a great idea. He was going to open up a restaurant, a bar slash tapas restaurant. And within 15 minutes, I knew his restaurant was going to fail. Welcome back to Firewatch Business. I know what you're saying, Jason. This is not unique. We've heard this story before. A man's passionate about a restaurant that he wants to open, and it failed. And I would say you're right. You're exactly right. What does it have to do with us as side hustlers and those people who are trying to build our time freedom and our financial freedom? I'm going to tell you, he went into this restaurant, which was not a bad idea. And some business ideas aren't bad. Some are, but some are not bad. They just don't make a plan. This person did not make a plan. His concept was a good concept. I think it would have worked, but it didn't because he didn't plan. He was excited. He was excited because his child was moving back home, and he and the child were going to build this business, and he was going to be able to leave this business to his child, and they would have a great time working together. And it didn't work out that way. Now I'm going to explain to you why. The first question I asked him was, do you have restaurant management experience? He said no. Do you have somebody that's going to be hired to do the management of the restaurant? Yes. I have a child moving back home. They were a bartender in a high-end restaurant in a major northern city. No front of the house, no back of the house, not even managing the bar. They had none of that. I said, so you don't have experience and your child, oh yeah, my child's got experience. They were a bartender. That is nothing. Nothing. That was strike one. Strike two, they didn't even understand the demands of a restaurant business, right? 60% of restaurants fail in the first year. 80% fail within the first 5 years. 80% fail in the first 5 years. Highly, highly competitive, highly risky business. They didn't realize that they were going to have to manage the inventory, manage the people, see what's profitable, see what's not profitable, manage how they were going to do their marketing. They had no clue about what it took to run a restaurant. That was obviously strike three. Then the big question, how much money you got? How much money, cash, do you have to get this business off the ground? He told me the amount. I told him that was not enough. Not enough money. I knew what his rent was. I knew where he wanted to be on food cost, which we discussed only because I brought it up. He didn't have enough money, but that was okay. He said, I'm going to take out a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, on his home. On his home. Not to mention, it's a highly risky business, and the majority of them fail. Why would you risk your home for such a risky business venture? Because his child was going to run it. They were going to have amazing sales. It was going to do well. It's not going to do well without a plan. It can't. When you don't have enough money to cover expenses for a period of time, especially in a restaurant, in any business, but especially a restaurant, and it probably needs to be double what you think it needs to be, you're at a major disadvantage because you're going to run out of cash. You're going to have to find it somewhere. How are you going to cash flow it? Here's the result. The restaurant failed. He lost his house. He had no plan. He had no plan on the cash it was going to take to keep the thing alive until it took off. He had no plan in who was going to run the restaurant, the profitability, to make sure that we were making small plates that were profitable, make sure the cocktails were being made and profitable. He had no plan on marketing. How was he going to bring people in? There was no marketing plan. There was no budget. How do you know if you're going to make enough money to do things? How do you know if you're out of line? Are you spending too much on this? Is your food cost out of line? Is your liquor cost out of line? Is your paper cost out of line? Is your labor cost out of line? No plan, nothing. I am 100% sure, because the concept wasn't bad. All his friends says, man, you can do it. This is a great idea. You're going to do great. This is going to be fantastic. You're going to do it. This is no problem. But the 3 strikes killed him. If you're thinking about starting a side hustle or a small business, and you're dreaming about leaving your 9 to 5 to find that time freedom and financial freedom that you want and deserve, this story is a great warning story, a true story that happens all the time, way too often. It should show you that you have to ask the questions, the difficult questions up front. You're not going to make it without a plan. So if you have a dream of leaving your 9 to 5 and you're ready to start that side hustle and move it into a business, scale it into a real business, then that you need to look into my new school community. It's called Firewatch Strategic Lab. It is free right now. And as we build it out, it's going to be free for founding members, and you will have lifetime access for free. But I'm telling you, once it gets built out, it will be a paid group. It's going to be a great group. We're going to build accountability. We're going to build goals. We're going to build action plans. We're going to build tools in there so that you can budget, so you can figure out what your goals need to be, your offer, and action plans to get there to make you successful. In the community, we will have real world advice with real world accountability and no fluff. So if you're sick of working for somebody else, join the Firewatch Strategic Lab and get started with us. All right, guys, that'll do it. Thank y'all so much for joining me. Next week, we're going to talk about a very particular man who came up with the Big Mac jingle. I got to meet him and talk to him. So till next time, keep on hustling.